Hi there, it's Kanika again, your host for the Art of Life podcast. I am so glad that you are here. I'm so glad to be recording this episode. We have a really amazing topic today. It's called creating time for hobbies. But before we delve into that, I wanted to thank you for all the likes and the subscriptions and the reviews that we've gotten so far. If you haven't done one yet, please will you hop in? It only takes 5 seconds or maybe 30, but it really helps spread the word. My mission is I want to share these tools and strategies for creating a better life in the world as much as possible because I think everybody needs these tools. So your review will really help getting there. Thank you so much. Continuing with the topic today, and the topic is creating time for hobbies. And that's a very funny topic, right? Like, what do you mean creating time? What do you mean creating time for hobbies? Can I create time? There is a finite amount of time. There is like only 24 hours a day. I get it. Yes, pretty much my reaction as well when I sort of first looked at this some time ago. But I wanted to maybe just have you explore the idea of time as energy. And bear with me. And when you think of time, just think how much energy time has. Like everybody just needs time. You need time to go out. You need time to do your chores. You need time to go to your job or do your studies. You need time for your kids. Everything just takes up time. Probably the only time when you actually had time was when you were a baby. And I would say maybe the best time was when you were in the womb. And that's more so because when you were in the womb, you could sleep when you wanted, you could get up when you wanted, you could roll as you wanted, it didn't matter. And slowly, you started getting bigger within the womb. And then even those expectations started coming in. Like maybe your mom was sleeping and she was like, oh, I wish the baby doesn't kick right now because it's waking me up. Maybe that happened. Maybe as you grew up, there were more routines to follow, there was school to go to, there were jobs to do, and so there was more and more energy of time, energy on your time. You see where I'm going with this now? So as we then go on in this mundane world every day, day after day, our time for hobbies reduces. Our time for ourselves, if you notice, reduces as well. And I want to now just prompt you in another way about time. So just imagine if you didn't have that energy on time. Imagine if your shower could be a nice long shower. Or maybe not a long shower, maybe you want a long bath, maybe you want to have good time for breakfast or lunch. You don't want to rush anywhere. Maybe if your days could just be like that, where you were not rushing from one point to another point. Just imagine that day for a little bit and just see how relaxed you feel and how you don't have to control others or be controlled as well because your day just has a rhythm to it, your own rhythm, your own time rhythm to it. And that is your time. Now, again, think of another thing. Think of your time as a baby in the womb. When you were in the womb, that's the time when you are generally not doing much. On the outside, seems like that because you are just in the womb, right? You're pretty much sleeping the whole day. But even as you're sleeping, you're growing. There's a little fetus, and from that little fetus, there's a full baby that grows out. So we feel that if we are not running, if we are not rushing, there can be a tendency to think that, oh, I'm missing out. But there's a whole lot that can happen when you're not thinking about time as much, when you are not rushed as much, when you have time to be with you. And we always say that about babies, that they are the most connected to the soul because they are not rushed. They are more intuitive. They're really generally happy about life. They just know what they want and then what they don't want. They're really clear till we start putting our own programming on them. But kids know. And part of the reason is because they don't have that much of energy on time. Their time is not constrained. They have time to really connect with themselves. And that helps them channel into their own higher self, into their own knowingness, into their own awareness. They're connected, they're full of joy because of that. I want you to consider if your life could be slow and what that would be like. Or maybe it's not 100% slow because there is just so much energy on time. But maybe if your life could just slow down a little bit, maybe if you could just have 10, 15 more minutes or half an hour or a little bit more, you know how I'm playing with your limits here. But maybe if you could just have a little bit more time to have your cup of tea or coffee or just to sit outside before you start the day, if you had time to be able to wake up nice and fresh, at least when you wanted to start the day, if that could happen, imagine how it would just supercharge your day. How you would come from a place of bliss and love and just genuinely feeling satisfied because you got the time, your body got the time to not rush, to be rested, to be in your own natural divine state. So, well, I've got a class that's coming up, and this is our therapy class for creating time for hobbies. And in this one, we are just going to play with the energy of time. We're going to clean some of the blocks that we have with time, some of our own mental blocks that makes it very busy and chaotic for us. We're going to clean that charge, heal it, and then bring in some flow into our time. Bring in some fun, bring in some relaxation. Of course, it is an iterative process, so it takes time to clear time, to get more time, but it'll be a beginning. And whatever intent you have for this session, so maybe you wanted to start a course, maybe you wanted to just take some time to do some journaling, whatever that is, that class is literally about just giving you that time, bringing that time into your space so you can connect with yourself, even if it is anything as simple as sleeping. And again, don't underestimate sleeping. Babies sleep, but babies make a full baby from a fetus. So there's a whole lot of integration that goes on just with resting. And that's what I wanted to do it. So there will be a link in the show notes and you can just join the class. And of course, I will be there to answer any questions that you will have. If you can join us for the class online, that would be awesome. But even if you can't, there is an ebook on grounding that I've written. So the ebook on grounding is about releasing. Grounding is literally about releasing any negative charge. So you can go ahead and download the book. And one of the exercises then you can do is start grounding out time. So literally just imagine that you've got time on a piece of paper or you've got just your energy of time around you, however you want to imagine it. And then you just drain the energy from here. Well, let me actually do a little very quick short demo for you. Okay. So if you were driving, I would just recommend maybe stop, pause this, and then be in a nice space where you are okay to take your attention off for a while. You will be safe. You can also listen to this meditation when you get home. Just stop it here so that's when you can listen to it. If you are at home, of course, go ahead. The only consideration I'd ask for you before you start grounding, because it does release a lot of energy, perhaps try not do it while you're driving or when your attention is required. Especially in the beginning, I think as you go along, just becomes a really natural process. Okay, So I'll assume now that you are now seated, you've got a nice space. It's not going to take a really long time, maybe just about 5-10 minutes. Okay. So just sit down, relax, wriggle your shoulders, wriggle your body if you need to. Just settle down and breathe. Just a nice deep breath. And as you breathe deeply, you are just allowing your body to release anything that's not serving. So maybe you're carrying some tension, maybe you're carrying some anxiety, just release. Great job. Another one. Notice how you are feeling in your body. And then as you are sitting, just imagine that the chair where you're sitting, that chair has got really long legs. It's okay, we are just playing, so you can just play. Have fun like a 3-year-old toddler. And just imagine this chair, the long legs, they extend all the way down to the center of the earth. And then the earth has a gravitational pull. So the earth, with its gravity, it's just taking everything that is charged around you, that makes you feel stressed or anxious, stuff that doesn't let you align with your true self. Just imagine all of that is going down into the center of the earth. And this is grounding. So, earth is always really happy to ground you. Earth is nourishing you, supporting you all the time. We are born on earth, your food, your clothes, everything comes on earth. Earth supports you, earth looks after you. And all the pain, all the stresses you have, you can imagine the earth's taking that away from you. Anything that doesn't serve you, the earth's taking away. And now, this time, we are really wanting to create some time for ourselves. So, imagine the next week for yourself. Imagine how it is, and you can ask Earth to release the extra charge from it. Maybe there's some interfering energy that is playing, that is already making your next week very busy. So just let that go. You can just imagine, perhaps in front of your eyes, there's like a calendar. The calendar has next week in front of you. And that whole block of next week, that has a deep connection with the earth. It has its own chair that's connected, and the legs go all the way to the center of the earth. And then just let it drain out any excess charge. Maybe you see some colors there. Maybe you just see some busy things coming out. Just breathe. Don't get serious. It's all good. And just let that busyness go away. And then, as all of that happens, you can just fill in that calendar, you can just fill in some fun. So give yourself some time. Maybe give yourself a few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of your time every day for that week. And just fill it up. So the earth's releasing all the negative charge, all the busyness, all the chaos. Earth's taking that away, making it nice and smooth. And as you fill it up with your own time of 15 minutes that you want, you are making it yours. You're making those days yours. Good job. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Great. Well, in the class, it's of course going to be a much deeper cleansing. This was a quick demo for you all, but I hope you really enjoyed it. Just look out how your next week looks like. I didn't want to play with this week too much because it already has too much charge. Time just has so much charge on itself. So the furthest along that you play this, the furthest along that you do this, the better it is. If you wanted, you could use the same meditation and just play with 1 month ahead, 2 months ahead, even more. And that probably will work a lot better because the energy by that time hasn't built as much. But of course, if you want to join the class, you're more than welcome. I will be so glad to see you. And then we will cover this in a lot more detail. And you'll probably get more out of it. I will be excited to hear how the session went for you. As always, have a beautiful day and keep grounding. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the Art of Life podcast. I couldn't thank you enough. I love sharing these messages about improving our life, just playing with meditation and simply reframing our thoughts, having a better life in that process, healing and creating a life that we really want. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you can, just pop in a review wherever you are listening to this podcast. That really helps other people find it as well. It helps me share this message far and wide with more people around the world. If you wanted to share or listen to some of the resources that I've mentioned in this podcast as well, you can just browse through the show notes, or you could also visit the website at artoflifecenter.com. That's where you can also find my upcoming classes. And of course, you're more than welcome to join me, and I would love to see you there. So that's it for this time. Thank you again for joining me on the Art of Life podcast. I will see you next week with a fresh new episode. Till then, keep grounding. Love your life. Bye-bye.